All right, so I'm sure you've seen the doubles for LTL companies, the doubles for FedEx Ground / UPS, and doubles or maybe even triples for food service. Now, they're not all the same. There's a big difference between the two. Let me first state, I've done FedEx Ground. That's what I did previously before doing LTL, so I can speak on it. Food service, I know a little bit, but I don't know fully, so you can always check out I'm Anthony TV because he does food service, but I have some understanding of how that works on that end. But let me first touch on this. FedEx Ground is not the same as FedEx Freight or FedEx Express. When you work for FedEx Freight, you are a FedEx employee. When you work for FedEx Ground, you are not a FedEx employee. Let me say that again. FedEx Ground, you're not an employee of FedEx. Unless you're like a package handler. But if you're a driver for FedEx Ground, you're not an employee. Basically, how that works is you work for a contractor. Contractor basically buys contracts from FedEx. So your contractor, he or she is going to be the one that hires you. He or she is going to be the one that provides uniforms, your paychecks, and all of that. Now, between FedEx Ground and LTL, speaking Linehaul, they do have some similarities. They pull 53s, doubles, and triples. Between the two, they're mainly done at nighttime. And again, y'all, I'm not speaking on this video. I'm not speaking on the P&D side. I'm speaking on the Linehaul. And by the way, they do call FedEx Ground. They call it Linehaul, but it's not LTL. So with that, again, it's done primarily at night. Another thing they both have in common is it's drop and hook. You're not going to customers. You don't deal with any customers. You're basically going from one service center to another service center. Or, you might do a meet and turn. They both do meet and turns. You have to hook your own set. When I was at FedEx Ground, it was very rarely. In fact, now that I think about it, I don't think they ever hooked my set for me. Even empties, I had to hook my own empties. Between the two, well, with LTL on the Linehaul side, I will say sometimes they do hook the sets for you. They do have the hostlers that hook them for you. But at FedEx Ground, I can't even say all FedEx Ground, at least the ones I went to. When I worked FedEx Ground, I mainly went to Tampa Ground, the Tampa HD home delivery, St. Pete, Orlando, Ocala, Fort Myers, both Ground and HD. One in Palmetto, my floor, y'all know what I'm talking about. And a few other ones, but at least at those I can say they didn't hook your sets for you. Now I will say with LTL, it's a whole lot more organized compared to FedEx Ground. Some of the big terminals, you do have to find, your lead and tail, but for the most part, it's organized. Now let me compare LTL to food service. With that, from my understanding, and I could be wrong, but from my understanding on the food service side, it's stepping stones to get to that. Now I believe they call theirs, they don't call it Linehaul, but I believe they call it shuttle. Now with them, and again, this is from what I've been told, what they do is they get their trailers from the warehouse and then they send it down to like drop yards or maybe smaller areas. Like for example, we have Cheney Brothers here in Tampa. Now we don't have a Cheney Brothers warehouse in Tampa. I know they have one down in Punta Gorda, which is basically near Fort Myers, and they have one in Ocala. So drivers out of those two warehouses, they bring the trailers down there to Tampa, and they have their local drivers deliver it, and they'll pick up the empties. Now, again, with that, from what I've been told, you can't just come straight into food service and do shuttle. From what I've been told, you have to start off as a a regular delivery driver first and work your way up. So I could be wrong, but again, that's what I've been told from a driver that actually does it. He does it for U.S. Foods. That's what he told me. Could be different for each food service company, but again, that's what's been told to me on it. Now let's talk about some similarities between all three. All three of them, it's drop and hook. They all pay well, benefits. Now, there is going to be a difference between all three when it comes to the benefits. With the benefits, with FedEx Ground, it's up to the contractor to provide benefits. Because again, when you work for FedEx Ground, you're not an employee of FedEx. So it may be a possibility that your contract doesn't offer benefits. Let's touch on the pay. Coming in, you're going to know what you're getting paid. Now, pay is going to vary when you're on the ground side. Because again, your contractor is the one that pays you. Meaning, contractor A might pay this much per mile. Contractor B might pay this much per mile. He might compensate for this and that, and the other contractor might not. What else was I going to tell y'all? With the routes, with LTL Linehaul, it's going to be based on seniority, meaning the bottom guy is going to get the smallest run, and the top guy is going to get the highest run. With FedEx Ground, at least for Tampa, if you run out of Tampa, you pretty much know where you're going to go. You're either going to go to Ocala, you're going to go to either Orlando, you might go up to Jacksonville, you may go to Tifton, you may go down to Fort Myers, or you might just go to the several warehouses down in South Florida. You got Miami, you got it's just a whole bunch, especially down south. Now with food service, you're gonna go from your home warehouse, go to a job yard, and probably just go back and forth. Now with FedEx Ground, we do turns. So basically, like when I did it, I might do a double turn to Ocala, or I might do a double turn to Orlando, and I might get a split on the way back, meaning they might send me to home delivery, which is still ground, just a smaller terminal. Let's see, with LTL, you may not be home every single day. Food service, from my understanding, you're home every day, but there is a chance, they might put you up in the hotel. With FedEx Ground, if you're a solo driver, you'll be home every morning. If you're a team, you might be out all week. You might stay out for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Now with LTL, they're not going to keep you out that long. You might be out, just for the week, and then come home for your 2 days. What else? So those are just some similarities, some differences between all three. And again, they all pay well for the most part. So yeah, I'm pretty sure there's some parts I left out, but more than likely I will do a follow-up with a part 2, so y'all be on the lookout for part 2. But those are just some things off the top of my head that I can speak on right now. So as I always tell y'all, thank you to all my subscribers, appreciate all y'all. And as I always tell y'all, y'all take it easy, y'all stay safe.